Welcome to Reread, where I'm still without a mic because Amazon's 2-day shipping turns out to be 6 days. Every time. Imagine that. Hey folks, I am on the Labyrinth of Evil book by James Luceno, and it says the exciting must-read prequel to the movie, and they are correct. Unlike the exciting prologue to episode 2, which is how they described the approaching storm, which is not true. This one is. I mean, this one almost could be the movie. It feels like. And it definitely sets up the movie things end as you're about to be introduced to episode 3. It runs all the way up to that point where Palpatine is captured. The Separatists have invaded. But there's so much going on before then. Anakin and Obi-Wan are on their way to try to catch Newt Gunray. He escapes once again through their fingers, but this time he forgets to pack his little Mecco chair that's been with him since episode 1. Now he's upset because that chair has all the recordings of Lord Sidious, and still gets messages from the Separatists. So if they figure out what's on that chair, then he's in trouble. So what he does is they turn around so he can beam a tight beam signal to have the chair self-destruct. Well, Obi-Wan and Anakin do find the chair, and as they're working on it, the self-destruct activates, and then they stop it. So now they have the chair, and they get their first image of Darth Sidious. Now, of course, they can't see who it is because he's in a hood and cloak and talking, but it's the first time they've ever seen Darth Sidious. And this book unveils, it's like everything you've been reading for the past 10 years, EU fans, James Luceno is going to deliver to you. Like they're finally unraveling what the deal was with the Jedi Master Sifo-Dyas, what they believe happened. The Jedi are finally connecting dots thanks to this chair. Like we think Dooku killed him because of this, which is true, and he ordered this for whatever reason. Before Dooku left the order, he always had plans to leave the order. Qui-Gon Jinn was his excuse. Qui-Gon Jinn's death was his excuse. But he went in and deleted a bunch of stuff from the archives, probably took a bunch of secrets that they're realizing. Yoda is also understanding that Sidious, they didn't know if maybe Dooku was Lord Sidious, or Dooku was just lying. Obi-Wan never knew if that was true or not from his captured time spent with Count Dooku. And basically anything that happened in Dark Horse comic books is mentioned. Anything that happened in the previous books are mentioned and put into, like after the Jedi go on a secret mission, they don't want to tell Palpatine that they're pursuing Sidious. And so they go a long time, tracking the origins of the chair, going to the guy who did the holodeck transmitter for the chair arm, and then from there on who manufactured it, and from the manufacturer who was the one who delivered it, and stuff like that. So they're slowly, and of course they track it down to the works area in Coruscant, which is where we see Palpatine and Dooku several times in the movies. So they find Sidious's hideout, and then they find the tunnels that, how he got from the works to wherever he's from. So they trace it back to 500 Republica, which is where Palpatine lives. Of course, a lot of people live there, so they're not sure who it is. They know it's a high up. They don't suspect Palpatine, but they know it's someone high up who's, probably involved with a lot of the goings-ons in Coruscant. But before they can get... it's Mace Windu and a few other Jedi are trying to discover, because this is where the trail stops, is at 500 Republica, and they're like, okay, well, did they cover their prints? Are they from somewhere else, or do they live in this building? So they're going to order a ton of probe droids to kind of check things out and see if they can narrow down where Lord Sidious, or this dark Sith Lord, is. Well, at that point, that's when the Separatists attack. Now, meanwhile, the Separatists have been on the run from the Republic. The Republic's winning, and so Palpatine sends half the fleet out to the Outer Rim because they're out of the core. So now he's got to get them out of the Outer Rim. He's like, we're going to keep pushing them back. Now's the time to go. We're trying to end this. Now, for some reason, the Jedi are against that. They're like, don't get too up. Don't get your hopes up too high, Palpatine. This war is far from over. You're thinking, well, it almost makes the Jedi wish there was still a war. And Palpatine plays to that. And you're wondering, are there recorded cameras there? because it seems like it can appear from the naked eye that the Jedi don't want the war to end. Now, I don't know why that would be, because the whole time they're trying to end this war, and they're trying to figure out ways to end this war, but they just don't want Palpatine and, I guess, the Republic to get too confident, I guess is what they're trying to say. James Luceno never gives the point of view from Palpatine, which is amazing to me. I mean, that's great, because we can always see the subtlety there. There's one time when Grievous captures him, he goes, "You'll be making a message, Chancellor." He went, "I won't be talking, you will." And then Grievous says, "And you won't be talking, I will." He did a mind trick on Grievous, which I thought was nice. It was just subtle. It doesn't even say that he did a mind trick. They just show that in the book. And that's really hard to do. If you think about it, for Darth Plagueis, James Luceno, and for some of his other books, he's always shown what Palpatine's thinking. But this time he decided not to do that. He decided not to do that. Maybe that was a request from Lucasfilm, to keep the secret that, Palpatine is Sidious. But it was nice. It was great that he didn't show Palpatine's point of view, because you get it. Even though he's saying things to the Jedi, he's saying things to the Republic, you can see the underlying motive behind it all. And that is beautiful. There's a lot of wonderful things. Like I said, the comic books, he'll talk about when they finally tell the Chancellor Palpatine that they're looking after Sidious. He went, "Why would you keep this from me? I thought we agreed after Yoda's death on Ithor, meaning Dark Rendezvous, when the fake Yoda died, you were going to start including me more on these secret missions. It looks like you're Rogue Jedi, and I know you're not Rogue Jedi, and I don't want you to, but I don't want the Republic to see you as that." I mean, it's just really good stuff. Anything from the comic books, like Dooku's talking about turning Anakin, and how he failed to turn Quinlan Voss from the Dark Horse comic books, and it talks about that adventure too. I mean, everything has a purpose, and oh my gosh, Valorum, they finally found out where the funds came from that he was set up to fail from. I can't remember, that was James Luceno, one of his other books too, but it basically, and then of course Valorum's sudden death, that was in the comic books. I love how the authors, a lot of authors, they do their homework. And to say, I'm going to reward, and if you didn't read any of that, you're thinking, okay, they're just making up extra history. But if you did read the comic books, if you did read all the novels, you are getting rewarded for your knowledge, because James Luceno is dropping all that stuff on there. There's some funny jokes in here. I think one of the people who delivered the Mecco chair is a girl, and she's been in hiding, and Obi-Wan and Anakin walk into a bar and said, "We're looking for a woman." And then the bartender goes, "Isn't everyone?" I thought that was really funny. Obi-Wan does confront Anakin about Padme, like he needs to keep his feelings in check. Anakin, they're tracking down Sidious, but then they get called out to a mission that brings them away from Coruscant. Of course, they're going to have to do a U-turn and come right back when Coruscant's invaded. But Anakin doesn't want to leave. And he goes, he said, "Because we need to find Sidious. We're almost there." He's like, "No, but we're needed to fight the battle. Grievous is there, Dooku's there. We need to fight them." He goes, "No, we need to stay here for Sidious." He says, "Is that the only reason, Anakin?" Because, Anakin misses Padme. They haven't been in Coruscant that long, and he wants to stay longer. He's like, "Why can't it be both?" And it really rides the rail there where, I don't know if Obi-Wan is willfully ignorant that nothing's going on with Padme and Anakin, but he definitely knows something's there, and he's trying to get Anakin to tell him the truth. By the way, lots of camaraderie between Obi-Wan and Anakin. They're friends. They're making jokes the whole way through because they feel invincible. In fact, Mace Windu makes a comment to Yoda and says, Obi-Wan's changed a lot. Anakin's rubbed off on him the wrong way. He sees Anakin as a peer, as a friend, and Anakin's not the best thing to, because he's seen more cockiness in Obi-Wan. Since, it used to be that he would train Anakin, but he feels like Anakin is now training Obi-Wan and being more overconfident and a little boastful, just because of how often they get out of jams together. Now, I didn't get to watch the Totofsky's Clone Wars cartoon because I know there's a discrepancy between that and this book, if I recall, like the taking of Chancellor Palpatine and how they, the adventures on how they got him differ a little bit. But right now in this one, I didn't see much. It may be in episode 3 where there is a big difference there, and I guess I just need to go back and watch the cartoon again. But because I know there's different Jedi are involved at different stages than in the book, than in the cartoon, which the cartoon was the only thing that was out now. The Tartakovsky's cartoon was the only thing out prior to episode 3 coming out. So it is a shame that there's a contradiction there. But in this book, I didn't feel there was one. I kept looking to hear Shaak Ti's side of the story, and she had a little bit of the story, but not that much. She wasn't in it that much. And so, again, you have Shaak Ti's death, which I'm interested in when we get to episode 3. But this thing leads up, and at the very end it says, to be concluded. Meaning, check out episode 3 of the movie, or the novel, which is what I'm going to do next time.